Three young girls laughing and playing in the snow, hidden from the eyes of the world because joy itself has been outlawed. In Afghanistan today, joy is a form of rebellion. Survival is an act of quiet resistance. Simple moments we take for granted, laughter, a walk in the park, the freedom to gather with friends, have been stripped away from women. Yet, despite all these challenges, they continue to fight. The rebellion is not waged on the streets, but in the quiet moments of joy that persist, even when no one is watching. As a photographer who lived and worked in Afghanistan for nearly a decade, a year of it under the Taliban, I often found myself drawn to document these quiet acts of defiance. You see, in the last 3 years, we've witnessed a complete erasure of women from public life. Women today, they face a new version of an old enemy, a regime that is determined to make them invisible. My collaborator and women's rights researcher, Melissa Cornett, and I spoke to more than 100 women across the country to understand and illustrate what it means to be a woman in Afghanistan today. What we've learned is that for Afghans, resilience is not a choice. It's a necessity. These women don't have the privilege of not getting back up. So they continue to live, to fight, not because it's easy, but because they have no other options. Afghanistan's history swings between periods of progress and setback. And women's rights have always been in the center of this battle. Every regime has used women as a symbol, either of modernity or moral purity. In early 20th century, under King Amanullah Khan, women were given rights. They could attend school, choose their husbands, even remove their veils if they wanted to. But that progress was always fragile. The struggle between modernization and conservative values, the scar of continuous conflict, and the competing vision of what the country's vision should be, have created this environment where progress is often made, but rarely sustained. In 1990s, under the first Taliban regime, women were confined to their homes, denied education, and erased from public life. After 2001, with the fall of Taliban regime, women found new opportunities in urban areas, careers, education, promise of a different future. But by 2021, all these dreams were crushed again, as progress was undone within weeks. We met Wajma, a mother who knows this cycle too well. In 1998, she was excited to attend university in Mazar-e-Sharif before Taliban took over and closed all public spaces to women. She had no option but to abandon her dream and start a family. In 2021, her daughter Tahmina took the university entrance exam and was admitted to Kabul University Medical Institute. But just like her mother, her dreams were cut short when Taliban closed the doors of university to women in December 2022. Wajma told us, "My biggest dream is that universities reopen so my daughter can achieve what I couldn't." Her story is one of the many where women have lost not only opportunities, but the future once they dare to imagine. These women have tasted freedom, and while the world's attention has shifted elsewhere, they refuse to forget it. As of today, Afghanistan is the only country in the world where girls are banned from secondary school. Women are barred from higher education, prevented from working outside of their homes, and in some regions, they have to be accompanied by a male guardian to leave the house. Women are disappearing from public life as spaces once they used to gather, like parks, baths, offices, schools, gym, beauty salons, cafes, are now close to them. Even in the shadow of this repression, these women find ways to fight back. Their acts of defiance is not on the streets. It's happening quietly, in homes, in hidden classrooms, in moments of stolen joy. I first met Razia and her classmates in the aftermath of a suicide attack that I covered just 3 months before Taliban took over. Her school became a place that I regularly visited in the last 3 years. Razia survived the attack that killed over 90 of her schoolmates, girls aged 11 to 17. Left temporarily paralyzed from waist down, she didn't give up. She regained the control of her legs while attending a school that was set up for the survivors. The school eventually went underground after Taliban banned education. Razia's younger sister, Zahra, took a different path. When Taliban outlawed schooling for girls, she didn't even try to fight back. She quit school on the day that the ban was kicked in. For me, her silence stood in dark contrast to Razia's determination. Razia became a spark of light for me in my darkest days. But even that light went dark about a year ago. When I first met Razia, she wanted to be a judge. When she quit school, she told me, "What good is studying law if it cannot give you your rights?" Their story represents a generation that came of age in Afghanistan. For many young girls, the loss of education have forced them into labor. Zainab and Yalda, both teenagers and barred from school, now sew uniforms for schoolgirls below grade 6. 14-year-old Muska was forced into an engagement with the son of the landlord in exchange for a well and solar panel for her family. Marriage is not a celebration of love anymore, but consequence of desperation and economic struggle. We also witnessed the toll the economic crisis has taken. In a malnutrition ward, we met 2.5-year-old Fatima weighing just 5 kilograms. That's under 1 stone. The nurse explained to us that in patriarchal societies like Afghanistan, when food is scarce, family prioritize feeding boys and leaving girls to suffer the consequences. But despite all of this, we also witness quiet moments of rebellion. Women in small gatherings continue to fight and find spaces for freedom, either through embroidery, attending art classes, or making henna designs. In underground beauty salons, women continue to reclaim their right to express themselves, a small act under a regime that has stripped them from personal freedom. At Radio Begum, one of the last women-led radio stations in Afghanistan, female journalists continue broadcasting, speaking about women's issues and the importance of education for girls, even after Taliban banned hearing the voice of women in public spaces. In a world that has turned its back to these women, they continue to push forward. They're rebuilding their lives with determination and reclaiming their identities. They're dreaming of a future that we may not yet see, but we must believe in. When people ask me, what can we do for women in Afghanistan? I don't have a clear answer to it, but I can tell you this. We must continue documenting their stories and showing these photos because they matter. Even if some of my photos cannot be shown today to protect the women or some of the spaces they've managed to carve out under the skin of the city, my photos will stand a record of truth, a testament to resilience and a history that must not be erased. Afghanistan's history goes through a cycle of progress and regression, but cycles can be broken too. Documenting this moment is not about recording loss. It's about creating a foundation for hope, a resilience to build upon. Because even in the darkest days, these women refuse to give in. Their fight is not over, neither is ours. Thank you.